I met my daughter's dad, and we got married 6 months after I met him. He told me that once I learned how to pronounce his last name, that we would get married. I worked on that every day. I, you know, I really cared for him. I really did. I mean, I loved him deeply. And there was a lot of stuff that happened throughout that relationship too. And I got sober again for a while. But we got into a physical altercation, and I called the police. Time had changed the law. So if you fought back, you would go to jail too. So when I got arrested, it's the second time I was arrested, I think, in a year. But this was different. I was defending myself. I was being abused. And so I go to jail, and it's a big weekend. So it's 3 nights in, 4 days in there. And they never took the phone out of my stall. I'm claustrophobic so bad. And I was talking to my friends and stuff. But the sheriff, when they photographed me, she goes, "You should never get back. They just changed the law." And I was like, "What? I can't defend myself just to get beat?" I couldn't believe it. But those days in that cell, when I got out of there, I went right to a therapist's office. And that's when I started my journey of healing. But when there was future conflicts or anything like that, I didn't call the police. And I didn't fight back. It scared me, you know? So I just stayed quiet. And I would just take it. Took it. So he apologized to me, and I asked him to go to therapy, but he didn't want to. So I went to therapy, and I just, went to church, therapy. And then we moved to Canada. And when I crossed the border, they knew, like, my history. But I got rehabilitated through therapy. And so I had to prove myself. And I did. But they knew something that I didn't know. They knew who my husband was. I didn't know. They told me if I ever needed anything, let him know. He was a Border Patrol officer, the captain in Canada. And when I first tried to cross in to the border, well, I actually went in there with him over the border without a passport, and nobody checked. And so we bought a house there. And then we went to the main hub to ask him questions, and they made me leave the country because I didn't have my passport. And so when I came back in, and he saw I was rehabilitated, but he told me if I got in trouble, or if I got into a fight with anybody or anything like that, they would deport me. So that's, again, I'm just putting up people's crap, right? Watching and observing. So I asked Ray's dad for this dog. I wanted a pup. It was a blue-haired Great Dane, and we had to go over to Nova Scotia to get it. It was really cool too, because when we got there, they were deep in the woods, and there was a river running through there, and there were like 9 puppies. They were beautiful, oh my gosh. And so what happened was, I noticed that the dad pup would throw a stick, and they would go get it. It was either in the river or on the side, and stuff like that. It was really neat. And his dad was, I named him Luke. His dad was young, and the mom was old, so she really kind of didn't do anything with him, but he just played with them, and he was a great dad. I was like, wow, this dog is sweet. So I knew that when I got my pup, he was worth having. So I bring him home. We had bought a new house. We bought it a year earlier. We paid cash for it. I sold my house in the States, and my money, American money at the time, was big. So when you cross over to the border, they paid me a percentage more on top of my American dollar. So we paid our house in full. And then my husband at the time, he borrowed against the house. So we have furniture, like, couches, and everything else like that. So I get this dog, and I start training him, because we were having problems with somebody entering our house when we were at home. A lot of weird freak accidents started happening. My washer and dryer all of a sudden starts leaking all over, and I'm worried about electrical. Floods my house. I call the fire department. They come in and wipe it up, clean it up for me. We're taking a bath, and the hot water thing flies off, and it's all, and the tile in the bathroom should be on the wall, not on the floor. And I'm freaking out. I think we're going to slip and fall. I call the fire department again, and they help us with that too. I call the police often and try to get help. They were treating me like it was crazy too. Really. So I get this dog, and I trained him to be a human traffic. So I would give him material of my kids' clothing, and I would hide him all around the property, and he'd get them. I taught it to him. And so it was really strange. There was a lot of strange things that happened late at night. They'd be like pounding on the garage wall from the living room wall. You could see the wall moving, But I look outside and there's no snow prints of human beings. So what's going on, what's going on? And weird things were being moved around the house, like the butter would be in the refrigerator when it was supposed to be on the counter. My son would put something out, it would be somewhere totally different in the house. They were like moving stuff around, right? And we know where we put our stuff. It's weird. So I got an alarm, and it would get set off as soon as I leave the property. It was crazy. So Luke's about 6 months old, and I have a feeling that the predator would have peed on the pole. We had a big light pole in our yard. Sure enough, he peed on that light pole, and that dog took me right to his front door. He bit him right on his balls. I went home, and I called the Mounties. They came out and told me what happened, and they went out and talked with him. So it turns out the owner of our house, all of them are brothers. And one of their kids was coming over there was some brick under the house that was not sealed in, and I didn't have time to fix that, and we just never thought about it, we didn't think anything about it. That's how he was getting in through those doors. Through the bricks. And he was messing with us. So it stopped after that. And then there was a whole lot of other incidents that happened. Those were related to other issues. I just don't know if I want to talk about that. But that would be another topic, I guess. But it's a sexual topic. We had a family member staying with us in Colorado. And the first day he came in, I wasn't right-minded, but that's a whole different story. I don't want to talk about that right now. We'll talk about it later. So, Ray's dad decides he's getting ready to leave again. He used to leave a lot, like 6 weeks at a time, 8 weeks at a time, 3 months, so on. He was always leaving us. So he can go work somewhere else, and have his life, and send us pennies to survive on. It was hell. And when it snowed there, it was like 8 feet. And I was always worried about the roof caving in, because after we got all cleared up, next weekend, boom, another 8 feet. It was crazy. And then it was ice rain there. It was totally muggy. Ice rain and snow. So he would have to call people to come out and, plow the driveway out and get the snow off our roofs. But I felt like in the middle of nowhere, and I was. It was in farm country, and in a foreign country who speaks French. And there too, the people in town didn't even respect my husband. They talked bad about him and everything, and they just treated us like crap. But I'm a different person than him, Maybe my children didn't deserve what happened to us. My son was bullied. They would throw food on him on the bus, call him names and stuff, because he looks native. His dad is part native, his dad. And Ray's dad is native too. And It was just like abuse, constant abuse. So when I proved that somebody was coming in the house, there was totally different respect there. And it was the same mountie too that used to come out. And the log trucks used to fly down from the lake, and the floors of the house were like this because they were flying fully loaded on that highway. And I heard stories about, yeah, when they lose control, the whole house is wiped out. Everybody dies. I'm like, oh my god. So there's more fear I had to worry about. It's so overwhelming. So this is before I got called by the Lord. So he comes home, spends some time with us, and the night before he's getting ready to leave, he disappears. And he comes back, his hair's all wet, and I knew he cheated on me. I know some bitch cheated on me, man. I was flipping mad. And he had a habit of abusing our dogs, and I would tell him, touch this one, Luke, I'm putting you in jail. And I wasn't even going to hesitate. So I got in his face about cheating on me. He pushed me and I slid across the floor. And I didn't report him because he told me that if I called the police, they would deport me and the kids. And so I was worried, all the time, because I didn't know I was going to support myself because, everything was invested in that house. So I started going to Maine a lot. And I thought, I'm going to rent a house over there for me and my kids. And I'm going to leave this all behind. I'm going to move on. So I told him that I was going to move to Maine because I was tired of being with somebody who didn't want to be with his family. So he moves us to Toronto. We sold our house and everything. And we didn't get hardly anything for our house. We just paid what loan was on it and that was it. And those people got a really nice house. But, so it's down, we're getting down to the wire. He could do whatever he wanted to me, I didn't care. But when it came to my kids, I was a little worried. So what happened was, we went out and did some stuff that day, and we had a new dog. I had to get rid of Luke because he would not leave me alone about him. He just didn't want him around. I think he knew that Luke would have bit him. Because he didn't touch me for, months after that last incident. And he didn't. Because Luke was right there. And, so I sold him to a rancher. They wanted to crate him. And then I wouldn't sell him because I didn't want to crate my dogs. I'd never done that before. And so they offered me a little extra money, and I needed it, so I took it. Prayed for Luke, He was kind of goofy, but when I needed him to do something, he did it. And so we go get this other dog for my son. And so when we did that, Rihanna was on the couch. He was in the shower. And then when he came out of the shower, Rihanna was crying because the dog had bit her. But he was just a puppy like her, just a baby. And he picked up that dog and slammed it right on the ground. And he was screaming. I'll never hear that. That scream of that dog, I'll never, ever forget as long as I live. When my son went to pick up the pup that her dad bought for him to take care of it, and he tried to go after the dog again. I think he was going to kill it. And my son stood up for the animal. And he is wrestling with my 9-year-old in a hallway by his throat. And my son is just like, oh my God, what's going on? And I'm in shock. And I literally get in between my son and enraged dad. Put my hands up. Stop. You gotta go. And he did. He left. He went to his meeting. His Al-Anon meeting. And I used to do families of addicts. And so I didn't show up to that meeting, but they all saw me a couple hours earlier. And they said, where's your wife? He goes, I don't know. And he was calm as pie, I guess. Calm. And they get on with their meeting, and I'm left with an injured child. And this other person's like, all animal control, because I'm freaking out because I don't want to call the police and I'm going to get deported, right? And so the animal control lady says to me, call 911 for your son. And I did. And I kept telling the police I don't want to get deported, I don't want to get deported. And who's telling you that? And I told him. He told me no. If I called the police, I was going to be deported. And that cop said that's not true. And so they asked where he was, I told them. And they went in that meeting and arrested him. And everybody in that room was flabbergasted. They ever call it. And the dog got help and everything. And so, my life started to change from there, you know. And I was still afraid, you know, but they treated him like a slave. I mean, when they threw him in jail, they didn't even give him a mat. And he thought he was a victim. Oh my God, really? Sorry if I didn't use your name in vain, but, but I still allowed him in our life to a point, because I still needed the support. And I think my son was angry about that, because I was just trying to survive, you know. I didn't want to be in the street and go like homeless. And so I was allowing him to a point to be in our lives. And my son was upset about that. And I'm sure I disappointed him, you know. I didn't stand by him, but Canada doesn't have a whole lot to offer for abuse victims at that time. They did put me on a housing list, and I got into a shelter. But it's still, you know, you're only allowed there so much time, and you're on your own. I'm going to do it. 2 kids live out of my van. CPS can come and take them. I had to think about what was best for us. And so, I'm just glad things, but he didn't put his hands on us again. And that was, he knew, I don't know, that I now knew I had support in a foreign country. And it's strange because when I lived in Colorado, I've helped a lot of people get their kids out of abusive situations, and I found myself in one in a foreign country because I didn't know the law. So if you ever move to a foreign country, make sure you know the law. It's really important for your own safety, even. To even be abused, you know. But he got 10 years probation, but not for my child. He got 10 years for abusing the dog. He had 5 years probation, and 10 years he could never own another pet. And abusive towards the animals, and I seen it early on. So I kept giving my dogs away to my one friend. I'm like, hey, you got room for one more, you know, because he'd come home with them. Or the very first time I witnessed him abusing the dog was he wanted a boxer. Her name doesn't really matter what her name was, but she was cool. I really liked her, and he'd come home screaming, "Can I get that effing dog? I'm gonna kill it!" Blah blah blah. And I would go get her. She'd come right to me, and I'd take her to the park until he calmed down, because I knew he was abusive. I've seen what he had done to her in the past, and I'm like frozen. I was like, where did that come from? Oh my God, this guy is horrifying. But I got a hold of my friend, and she took her. She took her, Great Dane, and other dogs. She took 3 of my dogs, because I was worried what he was gonna do. But I went from them to, to us. He was always putting me down, telling me, go get a job, go get a job. And one day my son stands up for me and he goes, she has gotten jobs, and you make her quit because you need her help with your books. Leave her alone. And he never mentioned that again. And then one time I won a lot. He won a lot of. I used to buy him tickets all the time. My son won $100. I took it from him and gave him $10. And so what happened was, it was about a year later. We were living in Denver. And Steven thought he won the big one. Yeah. And he thought he won $25,000. Yeah, we're going back to Canada, blah, 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 And he says, let me see that ticket. So he looks at it, he goes, that's not a winner. This is how it has to be. And then my son leaves the room. He goes up to his room, and he's in the corner of the room. I thought he was crying, and he's cracking up laughing. And I go, what's up, son? going on? He goes, do you remember when you took that $100 from me? You know, give me $10. I go, yeah. And he just got his payback. He thought he won thousands and he didn't get nothing. If he would have picked that 100, he probably would have had that 25,000. Let that be a lesson to you guys, that you give gifts to your kids and you take their money that they win. Man, what a great lesson on that one. There's a lot, you know, through the years. A lot of experiences and trials, tribulations, and I was stuck in this situation. I didn't know that I was free. I had no idea. So when I went to Canada, and after he was left the house, he was forced to leave the house, and I didn't let him back in. He wouldn't allow to stay at my house. But I'd see him out in public, except with his daughter. Father just showed me something. I don't know what it is now. So I guess the end of this story. You see somebody abusing, report it. Don't lay your head down. Don't think that no one can help. You know, there's a lot of things I didn't know. But when I spent those days in that jail, I was freaked out. I never wanted to be there again. Ever. And that makes me tight. I'm so, whoa. You know, I even think about stuff like that. But there's so many programs today that, you know, they'll help you. And they don't let you out in the street until it's done. I'm not sure if at the foreign country I lived in, you know, has made changes, but at the time it was kind of in the air. And even in the women's shelter, I was abused by workers in there. Their title gave them some authority to abuse. But, and I had it documented because I said I had disabilities. And so all that abuse stopped. But they would march me out of my room and just treat me like a criminal, you know? Because they could, because they had that title. I'm in charge. I'm in charge of another human being. That person was, those females were no different than my abuser that I had lived with for years. And we're supposed to be in a place where it's safe, and we're being victimized all over again. And then you would have people inside start bullying you because you're leaving your stuff around. Well, you just went through all this crazy stuff. Why would you think I'd be right-minded? Obviously, you're healed if you're paying attention to what I'm doing all the time. You know? You got nothing better to do. I don't know. Crazy, huh? Nuts. Oh, yeah, nothing to... I don't know why, but it's hard to keep showing it to you. So, in this house, the bananas would disappear a lot. I mean, they would have stacks of them. And they would disappear by morning, they were gone. So not only were they abusing the people, they were stealing from the place. What is up with that? Crazy. I mean, bananas are probably the cheapest fruit on the planet. You can't afford a banana. No, we're going to take it from all these women that are being abused, who need help and support, and start going out and buying your own damn banana. Crazy, huh? Excuse cursing. I know I've cursed off and on throughout this, but it's like, that comment just like brought in a flood of stuff. I'm just overwhelmed a little bit, you know. I mean, I got stories flying to left, right, and center. I guess I'm emptying it all out so you guys can learn, you know, some of your scenarios or some of the situations you're in, so you know you're being abused, I guess, or, hey, this don't look right, maybe I should speak up, you know. No one should have a right to use their authority, or your man, or any human being to mistreat another, because they feel like it. I remember as a kid, I used to fight with my dad, just, hey, look, I'm right here, hey, I matter, you know. So what brought that up is, so when I was a kid, I was in school, I was working, I was paying bills now, and my dad, I wanted to be out all night long, so I just told him to spend the night at somebody's house, and we're going to hit these parties. And the one chick I was with was one of my ex-boyfriend's sisters, and the mom found out and called my dad. And my dad's like, you need to come home. I'm not going home. I'm going out. So I come back the next day, and my dad is furious. I mean, he's screaming. He must have beat the crap out of me. And his wife's out there, in the middle of us. And I told him, you're no longer my dad now. Now you're my landlord. And you can't tell me what to do, right? And he told me, if you don't like him, Rosie, you get out. 3 weeks before my 16th birthday, I was out. Ran away. You think he'd come looking for me? Nope. Didn't even call the police. So that would kind of give you an idea of how I was raised. Never cared. Never mattered. When I was able to start speaking up. And it's like that all my life. I was like, I tried to fight for myself, and I was shut down. I was either arrested, or I was mistreated, or dominated, controlled. Everything I went through in life up until I was 42, when God called me and I knew He was my rock, I took a lot of crap. And then even after I took a lot of crap, I still wouldn't stand up for myself, because I knew that God fought my battles. I've seen some stuff. And, I just figured it would just go away. It would just further away. If I didn't react or respond, it would just stop. Oh no, it gets worse when you don't respond. I don't know. I'm starting to feel better. Because earlier I was kind of like down, just stressed, I'm starting to feel better. I'm gonna keep talking because I am. Because I can. No one says I can't. I got full control here. No bosses. Just me. Yeah. I like that. What did I chew gum to? Don't worry about absorbing a chemical that I didn't know I was consuming by chewing gum. I chew gum all the time at work. I had no idea. Crazy. Alright, peace out. And hopefully I won't come back on, but for today anyway, I like to just kind of get on with my day somehow. Alright, peace out. Love you guys. Take care. Bye for now.